Coming up on this episode of Hit the Sled, NFL Divisional Playoff Weekend. Ravens versus Texans, Bucs versus Lions, Chiefs versus Bills, and San Francisco 49ers sneaks a victory against the Green Bay Packers. We're going to talk about all those games next on Hit the Sled. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Eve coming to y'all with another episode of Hit the Sled. Hey, before we get started on this episode, as everybody know, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Hit the Sled. But not only that, you can follow me on my Facebook page, Instagram page, and also my Twitter page. With that being said, man, I'm excited about these games we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about, man, the NFL Divisional Playoffs this weekend. Man, we had some great games this weekend, y'all. We had some really good games this weekend. Some games that was really, really exciting. The first game we're going to talk about is the Ravens versus Texans. That game in the first half was kind of exciting. 10-10, physical game, defensive game. The Ravens were coming off the bye. This was a tale of two halves right here. The Ravens came out in the first half. Offensively, they looked kind of rusty. They looked like they wasn't really up to it, like they wasn't really down to what was going on. But defensively, they were on point. Defensively, they were physical. They tackled well. They were applying pressure on C.J. Stroud. It looked like C.J. Stroud was getting confused. He wasn't really seeing stuff the way he typically does. And also, the Ravens held the Texans to no offensive touchdowns the whole game. That's a tremendous job defensively by the Ravens. Man, the Ravens did an excellent job on defense the whole entire game. And as far as the offense in the second half, man, Lamar came out there, man. He came out, he was smoking. Because on the first half, it looks like even the run game was off. They were just missing stuff here and there. Lamar was missing receivers. The O-line, the offensive line was missing blocks. And it just looked like they were off. But apparently, according to Lamar himself during his post-game speech, he stated that, man, he came back. He had to say some things in the locker room at halftime. And boy, did they respond, man. They scored 24 points in the second half. They scored 24 points in the second half. They ran the ball better. Lamar was running the ball too. So it looked like they was really, it looks like they were really, they got going. They got going in the second half. Watching that game, one of the things I had to understand, and I had to come to the conclusion about this in regards to Lamar. We got to stop looking. I think a lot of us. I'm not a detractor of Lamar, but I watch Lamar with a keen eye because I tend to want to compare Lamar to other running quarterbacks in modern time, the Donovan McNabbs of the world, the Steve Youngs of the world, the Kaepernicks of the world. All these type of guys, Michael Vick, Randall Cunningham, a little further back, Steve Young, even a little further back, Steve Young, Hall of Famer, all-time great. Lamar's not one of those guys passing. Lamar can throw the ball. Don't get me wrong. He can throw the ball. But Lamar, I gotta stop looking at him as someone who I don't believe will become into a Steve Young. Or even a Randall Cunningham. People got to remember, Randall Cunningham had two parts of his career. Randall had his early part when he was with the Eagles, where he was running around. He was making plays. He was throwing it though, man. But Randall was real raw. By the time at the end, when his athleticism kind of left him, he was a really, really good passer with the Minnesota Vikings. Randall could throw that thing, man, when he was with the Vikings. I don't believe Lamar will ever be Warren Moon as far as passing. And to be honest with you, I don't even think he would be Donovan McNabb passing. But he is effective throwing the ball. He's very effective throwing the ball. And even though if you're watching Lamar's games with keen eye and you see stuff, he's missing stuff, people coming open before instead of throwing it, he's running. That's part of his game. One thing I noticed, and I've just also, and you got to give the Ravens organization, in particular their coaching staff, a lot of credit. Their coaches, excuse me, the Ravens coaching staff has decided we know what Lamar can and can't do. We know what he can and can't do, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna put all our steam and effort, scheme wise, everything to what Lamar does great. Either it would be running or whether or not it would be passing. The Ravens really throw the ball in places where Lamar is extremely effective, meaning between the hashes, a little bit outside the ash. Lamar doesn't really throw too many 9 routes. If he throws a deep ball, it's typically a post route over the middle. He's been the same way since he was at Louisville, and it's one of those things where what the Ravens has decided is everything he's great at, we're gonna scheme this thing up to make it highly effective at what he does, make him highly effective at what he does, and that's a credit to John Harbaugh as a coaching staff. They have just come to the realization he is not Steve Young. He's not Donovan McNabb. He's not Randall Cunningham. But what he is Lamar Jackson, in that he has the things that he's good at, which are crossing patterns, curl routes, comebacks, stuff like that, running around, being accurate, throwing rollouts. And not your typical rollout when you fake the bootleg and run out. It's typical like he's running the sweep, and then he would just loft something up. Kind of like it was a touchdown that Zay Flowers caught against the Niners. They did the same thing with Likely in this game against the Texans. So the Ravens, in my opinion, have just decided we're going to do what Lamar's great at. We're going to scheme it up to the best of our ability, and then we're going to go from there. And that's it. That's all they doing. They have made that decision, and that's a credit to them as a coaching staff. They're not trying to make Lamar something that he's not. And he's highly effective at it. So credit to the Ravens. They win this game going away in the second half. Like I said, they scored 24 unanswered points, to win the game 34-10. And they have a date with a team with the Kansas City Chiefs. And we're going to talk about that game a little later. And the Kansas City Chiefs will be coming to Baltimore to face the Baltimore Ravens. That's going to be, man, we're going to talk about that later in the week. But and we're going to talk about the Chiefs, how they got there. But congrats to them. But also, I don't want to forget to give the Texans their kudos for a great season. Man, the Texans played a hell of a season, everybody. The Texans, they came into this season, they accomplished everything I'm sure internally they wish they could accomplish and more. They found out that they have their quarterback. They found out that they have a coach that can get the job done. All the things that they need to work on is stuff. The things they need to do is fix. They can get it fixed by either drafting or just scheming up some more things. The two things in my eyes, they need to do is to develop a hell of a running game to help C.J. Stroud. They need to develop that running game and also get more dynamic receivers to help out Nico Collins, former Michigan guy, by the way. Nico Collins doing an excellent job. He's worked hard. He's gotten better. Man, he's doing a great job for the Houston Texans, man. Congrats to Nico Collins. So, and the defense continue to get more dynamic pass rushes next to C.J. Anderson. C.J. Anderson, he needs to get better. I didn't hear his name much at all. He didn't make too much noise. I'm sure towards the end of the year he got a little fatigued. But the Texans are a young team that's coming. They really are. They are a young team that's coming. And credit to them for the season that they had. credit to the Houston front office for the moves they made this offseason because they did a tremendous job. They're a team for the future. And also credit DeMarco, the head coach. He's only going to get better, man. He's doing a tremendous job, man. So congrats to the Houston Texans. The next game we're going to talk about is the game that night. The San Francisco 49ers beating the Packers 24-21. Man, I thought this was a very, very interesting game. Man, this is a game right here where a lot of questions were answered. I'm going to say this. The mark of a great team is that you can win. You have the ability to win a big game when you don't play well. Let me say that again. The mark of a great team is when you can win a big game in the playoffs, win a playoff game when you didn't play your best that day. And that's what happened to San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers, man, Brock Purdy, let's be honest. Brock Purdy did not have one of his best games. Brock Purdy, he went 23 for 39, 252 yards, 1 touchdown. He seemed to be having issues with the rain, but I'm not gonna put that. I'm not gonna make no excuse for Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was throwing the ball all over the place. He could have had 2-3 picks. He got lucky, and that's why that saying is sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. He could have had like 2-3 picks, but they didn't. Last week the Packers took one of those picks back for a touchdown against Dak Prescott. This week they dropped him. They dropped him on Saturday, and Brock Purdy got lucky. But however, even though he was throwing the ball all over the place, he was not accurate. In the fourth quarter, though, Brock Purdy did show up. Brock Purdy did lead him with game-winning touchdown drive. When Purdy needed to have it, they had it. And the reason why it was so important, the 49ers had lost Debo early in the game. The 49ers have lost the majority of the game with Debo missing. I believe all their games when Debo was missing. It was critical that Purdy led him back for that win. Because if Brock Purdy didn't do that, it would have been a question mark for the 49ers saying that he ain't the guy. But one thing people got to understand about what happened in this game was, on that game-winning drive, Brock Purdy threw the ball 7 times. They only ran it twice. Christian McCaffrey, by all accounts, is the best player on the team. Kyle Shanahan did not run the ball no more than 2 times with Christian McCaffrey. He did score the game-winning touchdown. But Brock Purdy was the reason why they got all the way down there. That was Brock Purdy moment right there. If you Brock Purdy, you can say to yourself, man, when the chips were on the table, I led the team. I did not play well early in the game, I should say, excuse me. But when the chips were down, I got the job done. Now that's something right there. That's something he can hang his hat on. That's something right there he can get the job done. Kyle Shanahan put the game in Brock Purdy's hand, and Brock Purdy delivered for him. This is exactly the type of game the 49ers needed to win. When you're not playing your best, you still can get the win. Defensively, they did not get a lot of pressure on Jordan Love, and that's a whole nother thing because they got a team coming down there next week. And I'm going to tell y'all something, man. This is something right here we're going to talk about later on in the week. Detroit coming. We're going to talk about that. But credit to the 49ers. Credit to Brock Purdy for winning this game. Credit to him, man. He did an excellent job, man. He at the end. But, man, three quarters of that game, he was suspect at best. He was suspect at best, man. He was suspect at best. But credit to him. Defensively, they made the plays when the plays were needed to be made. Ambry Thomas, though, the corner, he's from Michigan. Hey, man, you better clean that up, Ambry Thomas. Next year, you might not be on that team. He had two personal foul. Not personal foul. Excuse me, pass interference penalties, big ones too. That led to touchdowns. Can't have it, champ. Can't have it. You got to play better, man. You got to play better, Amber. You got to play better. You got to play better, man. But in regard to this game, man, I'm going to tell you something. The Packers showed me a lot, too. The Packers showed me a lot. From the first possession of the game, Green Bay was ready to go. The Packers was ready to go from the very first snap. Man, Jordan Love, he went 21 for 34. He only had 194 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 2 interceptions. But that's not the story. The story is he played well again. He made great throws. Granted, the last interception at the end of the game was a bad read, bad throw, but that's a great learning tool for him going into the offseason. If I'm him, I'm saying to myself, man, I ain't never doing that again. I ain't never doing that again. And you know what's going to happen too? I'm only going to get better from this. I can lead this team to the Super Bowl. If I'm Jordan Love, that's how I'm believing. I went toe-to-toe with the 49ers, and if it wasn't for my turnovers, we had a chance to win that game. Could have said we should have won the game. We had Aaron Jones running 18 carries, 108 yards. We had a real chance to win this game if I didn't turn the ball over. They missed their chances. They missed a couple field goals that led to nine touchdowns. The Green Bay Packers have a young team. The front office of the Packers cannot do what they did all those years with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. They got to push the envelope a little bit. They got to get some people in there that can put them over the top next season. They got to get some difference makers in there quickly. Whether it would be on defense, whether or not it would be on offense, they got to get some alpha, some dudes in there, some dudes in there that can. They cannot just draft and think they're gonna win. They need to step it up. They need to find them the next Charles Woodson. They need to find them the next Reggie White. They got to find somebody that can help them take their team to the next level so that they won't waste another 13, 14, 15 years of Jordan Love with one Super Bowl. Do you know the Packers have in Brett Favre played 20 years. Aaron Rodgers played 18 years with the Packers. They only got 2 Super Bowls. They should not have only had 2 Super Bowls. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. They had 2 all-time great quarterbacks and only got 2 Super Bowls. You know why? Because they always wanted to just draft people. Yes, times during the Aaron Rodgers era, they ended up getting Julius Peppers. They ended up getting Charles Woodson. Those are the type of moves they need. They need some guys that can help take them to the next level. They gotta get some people that's gonna help them take them to the next level. That's what the Packers gotta do. Hopefully they don't sit on their laurel and they just feel like all we need to do is just draft and develop. Now you got to go for somebody. You got to find whoever it is. If it's a Devin White at middle linebacker to come in and play in your defense. If it's somebody on the pass rush, somebody at corner, somebody that can, Jair Alexander, that dude right there, he can play. But he been banged up the last 2 years. Somebody at safety. Somebody at the DN spot next to Rashawn Gary. Somebody that's going to come in and be a beast for him. They need to do it. Because the reason why I'm telling you that, Detroit ain't playing around. Detroit played the Bucs yesterday, and they got to win 31 to 23. Man, Detroit making the first NFC Championship game since 1991. Guess who they played? The Washington Redskins. That's how long it's been. And we know Redskins ain't been to the NFC Championship game. Detroit, the last time they was there, Barry Sanders was at a hard time great. Barry was out there running that joint. Barry was out there. Herman Moore was out there. I believe Rodney Peete was the quarterback. Wayne Fonts was out there. Robert Poche, Brett Perman, Benny Blades, man, Detroit, Chris Spielman. Man, Detroit had a little squad that year. They beat Dallas. They were at the Ulster Divisional game. They beat Dallas, and they came to RFK for the NFC Championship game. And in this game right here, we punished them because we was going to that Super Bowl, the Redskins. But that's the last time they been there. This game right here, they said, you know what? We ain't even gonna try to run the ball. We gonna try to run this thing. We gonna right through Jared Goff. Jared Goff came out there. Jared Goff went 30, 43, 287 yards, 2 touchdowns. From the very start of the game, they came out slinging. They was like, this is on Jared Goff. Jared Goff got to lead us. They only ran the ball 26 times, and they threw the ball 46 times. So that should tell you what was they thinking right there. They thought that Jared Goff is the key for them winning, and Jared Goff played well enough for them to win. He didn't turn the ball over. I keep telling y'all, Detroit, if Jared Goff do not turn the ball over, Detroit has a great chance of winning. And we're going to talk about that later on the week, on Thursday, when we make this, when we talk about what's going to happen with Detroit and San Francisco. This thing right here is getting serious, y'all. Detroit is 2 wins away from a Super Bowl championship. Detroit can go to the Super Bowl next week. We're going to talk about that on Thursday. But again, on defense, Aaron Glenn did a good job as well. Because Jared Goff, he didn't turn the ball over. He didn't put the defense in bad spots. And Aaron Glenn did a hell of a job calling plays. He was getting sacks. They was doing stuff, man. People was coming scot-free on the blitz. They were sacking Baker. They forced Baker into 2 picks. One of them was early in the game. The second one was at a crucial point when Baker was driving for the game time touchdown and 2-point conversion. But I got to tell y'all something, man. First of all, before I continue on my line soliloquy, credit to Todd Bowles. He did an exceptional job this season coaching these boys. They could have won this game, too. They had a shot. They could have won this game, but credit to Todd Bowles. He's going to be back next season. And credit to Baker. The Bucs got to sign Baker, give Baker a little bit of money. Now, how much Baker get, that I don't know. Baker should get the average about 40. Man, he down there in Tampa, no state tax. Baker making a come up. Baker about to get paid. He about to get some money. Baker good. Baker about to be set. He did play well. He played well. Baker did do a good job. Detroit was just better. Defensively, again, they were really solid. Aiden Hutchinson putting pressure on. Aaron Glenn doing an exceptional job calling plays. They were good enough. But I gotta say this too. I gotta credit the Detroit Lions owner, Sheila Ford Hemp, for hiring Chris Spielman, who ended up hiring Brad Holmes, HBCU grad Brad Holmes, who's the GM and African American. Man, Brad Holmes did an exceptional job in the draft. Brad Holmes did an exceptional job in the draft. He hit on all them dudes. He hit on the tight end, who's an all-pro tight end. He hit on Jahmyr Gibbs. He hit on the middle linebacker. I'm forgetting his name right now, from Iowa. He drafted Penei Sewell. He drafted the receiver, Amari St. Brown. He drafted him. Brad Holmes, Sheila Ford Hemp, and Chris Spielman gave Brad Holmes an opportunity. Brad Holmes has took that opportunity and ran with it. He has ran with it. He is doing an exceptional job driving, being the GM for the Detroit Lions. He's doing a great job. And also, he decided to hire Dan Campbell. So along with Brad Holmes drafting the players, Dan Campbell coaching these guys. When you see Dan Campbell, he fits perfectly with that football team. Dan Campbell looks like a guy from Detroit. Look like somebody in the that battle in the winter. Looking like he chopping wood out there in the winter. In the blizzard. Looking like he chopping wood. Dan Campbell, when you see Dan Campbell looks like a Detroit dude. He looks like the head coach of the Detroit football team. He's come in, he's giving these guys an attitude. He's told these guys, man, hey, we going all the way. He's giving them confidence. People laughing at him, talking about biting knees. It's an attitude. He work them. When you watch that Hard Knocks for Detroit 2 years ago, I looked at that and I said, Detroit gonna be a problem. And the problem has came home to roost. Detroit is going to that game down there with the 49ers. They ain't gonna be playing around. They not gonna be playing around. Detroit can go down there and get this win. Make no mistake about it. Detroit can go down there and beat the Niners. Detroit can do it. Do not sleep on Detroit. I've been saying it all year. Detroit has been two of the best football teams in NFC along with the 49ers. Detroit Lions are for real. They not no cute story. They are not a cute story. Y'all better take the Detroit seriously, because Detroit got a real shot of going to San Jose, to that joint Levi Stadium, and getting the win down there in Santa Clara. I'm trying to tell you. Credit to the city. I'm happy for the city of Detroit. I'm happy for the city of Detroit. I ain't never been to Detroit, but I plan on visiting, though, because my Michigan Wolverines, we the national champions. And they said when you fly in, when you going to Ann Arbor, you got to fly in Detroit, and then you got to drive to Ann Arbor. It's 30, 45 minutes down the road. 30 minutes or so. Hey, man, I got to make my way to Detroit. Because I'm going to a Michigan game. I'm going to Ann Arbor. I'm going to see my Wolverines play. So congrats to the Lions. And maybe they get to see the winner. They get to see the winner of that Kansas City Buffalo game, the Kansas City Chiefs. Man, let me tell y'all something. Now. Pat Mahomes did it again. I said on the last episode, this thing, Josh Allen had an opportunity to create a legacy, to start his own legacy. Patrick Mahomes is only creating his legendary status. Pat Mahomes has turned into a legend right in front of our eyes. For some reason, people were saying, I heard people saying, friends of mine, everybody, oh man, Pat going on the road. Man, what that mean, Pat going on the road? What that mean? What that mean, Pat Mahomes going on the road? Man, you saw them dudes hurt for the Bills? Man, the Bills were losing people left and right. That's why I said Pat was going to go down there and beat them peoples. Pat wasn't scared. This was Josh Allen's opportunity to do something big. And unfortunately, he didn't get it done. The Bills season ended. Don't let them people fool you. The Bills season ended because Josh Allen and Diggs Stephon Diggs did not make the plays to help them win the game. Their defense was already hurt. They had guys missing because of injury. They were devastated by injury. That's why Kansas City just ran the ball on them. I'm going to tell you about something that happened. Y'all not going to believe what happened at the end about Kansas City and the reason why they did what they did. But Stephon Diggs had an opportunity to make a play, a 60-yard bomb Josh Allen threw. And it went right through his hands. You got to make that play, Steph. University of Maryland grad, local guy. He used to go in the barbershop with my man Lou. I used to get my head. Let me tell y'all this is a true story. God rest his soul, my barber Lou, man. My barber Lou. Lou used to be Stephon Diggs' barber. I used to get my hair cut every Thursday to my barber Lou. God rest his soul, Lou, man. Stephon used to come in there on Thursdays too. Good dude. Good dude. Good dude. Stephon a good dude, man. He used to come in there when he was at Maryland. He used to come in there, hard at us, man. Sit there waiting on us, man. He was my man Lou Barber, man. Lou was his barber, I should say. And so I support him. But he didn't make that play. He didn't make that play, man. And that hurt. Because on that same possession, Josh Allen had opportunities to go to him, to make some plays for him, to keep drives alive, to keep the possession going, get closer, even for a field goal to tie the game, get closer to even get a touchdown. And Josh Allen did not make the routine play. Josh Allen did not make the routine play, man. See, the difference between Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes in those situations make the routine play. He always does. I heard a coach once say, I believe it's John Gruden. John Gruden said, you never go broke making a profit. Take what's in front of you. If the crossing pattern is there, take it. If the check down is there, take it. If it's there, take it. Take it. Josh Allen wouldn't take it. He went for glory. On at least 2 occasions, there were open guys underneath, and Josh Allen, went for the glory ball. And it never worked. And they end up hurting him. See, if that was Pat Mahomes, he taking that. He would never go broke making a profit. And Pat showing up didn't. Pat didn't throw for a lot of yards. Pat went 17 for 23, 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. But you see, the thing about Pat was making the plays that was presented in front of him. When he had opportunities to go deep to Kelsey, he didn't miss. When he had opportunities to hit certain guys, he hit them. Kelsey caught 5 for 75. 5 catches, 75 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Isaiah Pacheco, he had 15 carries for 97 yards. Andy Reid almost gave that game away, messing around with Nicole Hardman. I was screaming at the TV, why are you running a trick play, a reverse thing to Hardman? He almost gave the game away early in the game by fumbling. Why is he doing that? Why are you get the ball to Pacheco? He's on fire. He's running hard. He running like somebody stole something from him. He trying to get at everybody. He trying to get his money. Give him the ball. Instead, Andy Reid tried to run a reverse with Nicole Hardman, who of course fumbled it. Why are you trying to be cute? Why are you trying to be cute, Andy Reid? Why are you trying to be cute? Just get the ball to Pacheco, let him score. And this was after Sean McDermott for the Buffalo Bills tried to go for a fake punt. The game would have been over by then. Then they still could have almost had to win. The guy fumbled the ball for the Chiefs guy. Instead of just picking the fall on the ball and the game is over, he wanted to pick it up and make glory and run it back for a touchdown. See, you got to know the situation. This ain't the time for you to be selfish, man. Just make the play for the team. And that's the thing that Josh Allen didn't do. Josh Allen, when the opportunities were there to make the routine plays, he didn't make them. That's why they lost the game. Pat Mahomes made those routine plays, and that's why they won the game. It's a difference. Man, Pat that guy. Pat is that guy, man. We're going to talk about that when he go to Baltimore. But one of the other reasons why they won this game, the Kansas City Chiefs, they saw, and this is great coaching on Andy Reid. Yeah, I just went on him about trying to get the ball to Nicole Hardman, trying to trick somebody. But Andy Reid did run the ball 24 times for 146 yards, 1 touchdown. I want to know the last time Andy Reid ran the ball more than he threw it. Pat Mahomes only threw the ball 23 times. They ran the ball 24 times. And guess what happened? They won the game. They won the game. So, man, listen here. This is what playoff football all about. You got to do what you need to do to get the win. It's not about gaudy stats. It's not about looking pretty. It's about getting the job done. It's about getting the job done. And the Kansas City Chiefs got the job done. They played winning football. Pat Mahomes played winning football. Josh Allen didn't play winning football. He went for glory instead of taking routine plays. He would have got the touchdown. He would have got it. He probably would have won the game. But he went for glory. So with that being said, man, I can't wait for the championship games this weekend. Hit the Sled is the place to be for all those action. We're gonna preview the game on Thursday. We coming at you. Man, I'm trying to tell you something, man. Hit the Sled. We got a lot of things we working on behind the scenes. The preview, man, with the NFC and the AFC championship games this weekend. Football season is coming to an end, but man, we got a lot more things we're gonna be talking about moving forward. Man, I truly appreciate y'all. Hit the Sled. Follow me. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, of course my YouTube channel, or Hit the Sled. Man, we gonna be coming to y'all this Thursday. We coming. Hit the Sled, the preview of the NFC and AFC championship games. We got Kansas City against Baltimore, and we got Detroit going to San Francisco. Man, I appreciate y'all. Hit the Sled. Man, it gets no bigger than this. Appreciate y'all.